So I'm here with Fish. I guess people would probably want to know your real name.
I ain't got one. Why are you looking at him? Why are you looking at him? Why, Liam? Yeah, Andrew Brown.
Yeah, is it really? How did the fish thing come about?
What happened, and it's quite a traumatic story, really. There's kind of two, you know. Well, when I was born, my mum said, "Fuck it, shit happens." And so the nurses said fish, F-I-S-H.
That's it. These are random. These are random questions that I know people. What? All right. These are simple questions. Like, what was your best childhood memory?
Sitting on the vicar's knee. Childhood memory. That's a good one. God, you know, child, that's really hard work. I don't really remember my childhood. I suppose living with my foster parents on the farm, and that was good, yeah, in Basingstoke, yeah.
What was the best fight that you've been involved in?
The best fight?
Yeah. That you enjoyed?
Oh, mate. I love all my fights. I like fighting in prison, I like fighting when I had my ear bitten off, that was a brilliant fight. I mean, I love fighting. I mean, you got to remember I was bullied, and me loving fighting came out of being bullied, and so fighting for me became my sex. So all fights, I love all fights. I mean,
was the one that actually sort of stuck out?
Do you know what? When I finish this interview, I'm going to punch Liam Galvin in his face, yeah, because
that's the best one.
He asked me a question, yeah, that I ain't no thought. I ain't really got a good fight. I mean, I love all fight. Every fight I do, I don't. Not one really sticks
it's a
out.
hard question to answer, isn't it?
No, not one sticks out. So I mean, you know, geezers chase me with knives, and fights in the clubs and the doors. So for me, it's asked me questions I haven't really thought about, but I haven't really got them.
Oh, well, that's the aim of this, you see.
See, that's right. He thinks he's smart. Anyway, so for me, I mean, when I got my ear bitten off, I suppose that was a lovely fight because it gave me my trademark. I'm a staff now. So I loved that. That was a good fight.
What was the worst beating that you've ever had? The
worst beating?
Yeah.
The worst beating for me was when I was down the block in Ashford, YC, youth custody. And we had, I got nicked, my cellmate wanted to get his radio, and he asked another officer if he could open the cell door to get his radio. The officer gave him permission. Now, as he took his radio and got to the yard, another officer, who was the wing officer, asked him how he got his radio from the cell. And he said, I asked another officer, and the officer opened the door and let me have it. So he went mad at my cellmate and said, why didn't you talk to him properly? So I was like, hold on, Crash. If he didn't speak to the officer properly, then let the officer say him. But because you got the hump with him, because he's put you wrong, Crash out your father, you know, you were digging him out. So anyway, he went to hit me, so I blocked him, this time doing Lagar and boxing. But he blew the whistle, said all calm, and I went, got adjudication for attacking a screw. But when I was there, in the adjudication, they have the prison officer, the big chief behind, and the governor. And they have two officers in front of you, and they've got the slit hats. And, you know, it was all new to me. I thought it was quite hilarious, yeah. So I'm laughing, yeah, because I'm like... So Crash out your father. When we come out, they said, what were you laughing at, Sooty? So me just, you know, thinking, I said, you mummies. And, Liam, I swear to you. They done every single joint with a truncheon. I was in bits. That was the worst beating. Listen, ankles, knees. I was down that block for 21 days in bits. He's laughing. Liam's laughing. That's the kind of person he is. Instead of him feeling sorry for me,
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, now he's
really sorry.
I've exposed him.
That's it. Toughest prison that you've ever been in?
Toughest prison. Toughest prison was, for me, Wandsworth in 1986. But you have to remember, prison for me was never tough because and even though in '86, that's where I met Frankie Fraser, and me and Frankie Fraser made my stay in Wandsworth. Meeting Frankie Fraser, he taught me about prison, but what he taught me has stayed with me throughout my life. And so, when you talk about, I don't really find prison tough because I do what I've got to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's on, it's on. Whether it's with prison officers, whether it's with inmates, you know, I've always done well, and that's why, you know, people in prison always call me a legend. I don't call myself a legend. I find it quite embarrassing. But and I'm also, you have to remember when you ask that question, we got to remember that question is I'm always the induction orderly, and I'm always the negotiator and peacekeeper in prisons. So when you are the toughest prison, I mean, Swarside's tough, Wandsworth tough. They're all tough, really. But for me, I'm always the negotiator, the middleman. I've always can hold my hand. I'm always, you know, I'm quite tough myself. So I was always sorting out the problems and helping each, you know, different gangs sort out their problem issues. And if someone got cut and hurt, then I'd have to go out there and take them to healthcare, and then healthcare would ask me what that, and I'd say, oh, look, I don't know, he fell over. So, you know, you talk tough. I mean, you know, Swarside, I suppose, all prisons supposed to be tough, but Swarside supposed to be tough. And they'd got me my boyfriend, I put it on him, and nothing happened. For me, I mean, everyone knows me in prison. I can have to tell, after war, I've always been staunch in prison.
So that brings me on to a question. You mentioned Frankie Fraser. Who would be the face that you most admired or respected?
Okay, when you say face, it's a very difficult question. I like Liam. This is a good interview because he's took me down a different road here, and he's asked me questions which I've got to have thought. When you say faith, I mean, you got to remember when I met Frankie, I was a peanut. I didn't have a clue about the game, and you got to remember Frankie only took me under his wing because he saw the way I dealt with the officers and my sentence. And one day I was saying, when we were there, we always had to slop out. And so I was in A9, and I believe Frank was in A10, or he was in A10, he was in A9, I was in one or the other. And what happened was, we always have to slop out every morning. And I'd slop, as I went to slop out, an officer would stand at the, in the middle of the wing, where the slop out area, so he could see everyone slopping out, because there always used to be fights there, and people used to say, yuck, all this shit all over you. That's on this colour. Yeah. So crash, and what happened was, I was going to this officer every time, come out, good morning, sir, and then going to the slop out, slop to come out, come back next morning, good morning, sir. And then one day the officer said to me, I'll finish. I said, yeah. He said, why is it every morning you come out your cell, you have a smile on your face, you say good morning to me, Mr. Apps, his name was, and then you come back, you smile, and you go back to your cell? He goes, why? And I said, it's all about the 2 R's, sir. He said, the 2 R's? I said, yes, sir. He said, what's the 2 R's? I said, sir, one day I'm nearer to release, and you're one day nearer to retirement. So we're both free. And Frankie saw that, and he thought it was hilarious. And then he taught me all about prison, like not to have pictures on the wall, not to put your property out, you know, and I'll always love him for that, because that has stood with me all the way through mine. That's why for me, when you said what's the toughest, I suppose it was Wandsworth, because once you learn from Wandsworth, and them days, yeah, Wandsworth was the toughest because it was double A category, yeah. Once you learn from those, what happened, crank, you can go to any nick in the country. After you've been to that. When they introduced Belmarsh, then it changed. But when Wandsworth was the flagship, believe me, they were all 6'2", you know, all SLE, all ex-army, all this and mate, on it. So yeah, Wandsworth was tough.
So next question, being gay in prison, difficult or easy?
Okay, you have to remember, for me, you got to remember, for me, I can hold my hand. You've got to remember this. It's and you got to remember, I tried to die to 100 years. So I didn't give a fuck. Does that make sense to you? I knew everyone knew. Most people in the game know me in the game. You know what I'm saying? And then people in prison know what I'm about. They know it's like a tear. They know I don't care. They know I'm prepared to go. I don't mind getting stabbed. Shit. So for me, it's a different game. I mean, you know, one day in Swellside, someone put it on one of my boyfriends, Pedro from Chile, and he came and said, "Oh, someone's called me a puff just now," and but I'm trying to play that. I'm not a tear. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, "Oh, really? Who's that then?" And he goes, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." So I'm going, no. Who? Just, I'm trying to play all like I'm genuine, you know. And he's going, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." And I'm going, no, I'm just having it. And he wouldn't have it. So I've walked out with Swellside. There was one of the toughest nicks in the country, 2 landings high, and crash. I've gone out there. It was association, and the officer and the inmate are playing snooker, and a full-size snooker table. So I pushed them off, and I got on the table, and I jumped up, and I've gone, "Right, everybody listen up. Everybody listen. Everybody listen. Listen up. Listen." So they've all come up. But you've got to understand, everyone knows me in it. They all know what I'm about. They listen. I look after them all. I look after everyone in there. I look after the boys. I sort out. You've got to remember this. So they all know I can tear them all. So when the fish shout, they all know they come out and go, "What's up?" Because they know I'm a good person. I don't cause grief. So I said, "Right, listen up. See me and my mate. We meet and we love it. Now, if there's anyone here who's got an issue with it, or would like to say something about it, there's my Peter, and the Peter is what we call a cell. It's called Peter Safer and Banham, so we call the cells Peter. Bring what you want, who you want, and as many as you want, and I'll show you what fucking day it is." I said, "Half you loons are scared to walk down the same side of the street as me in case you get nicked for the bird you get." So, you know, and I went back to the PL. The boys come and see me. They found out it was, and they'd done it. So, being gay in prison, it don't faze me, because being gay anyway don't faze me. Because you know what? When I came out, I was thinking, what the fuck are you hiding it for? People are scared of me, not me scared of them. And so, that was.
So, you touched on it earlier. What's been like the worst racist remarks you've had? And
well, the worst racist remark, I mean, but you see, being fostered and that, and I don't really, you know, I got white mates, black mates. I don't really see role. I see it, but that doesn't really affect me. The only time it did was a guy was on a bus once, and I was on the bus. Liam, this is why you love this one. So I'm on the bus here, crash out of your father here. I'm at the front, I'm in a baseball cap, look like a 16-year-old, and there's this big white fella in the middle of the bus. And he's looked at me, he's gone like that. I thought, why do you know what tribe I'm from? So anyway, now I'm on this bus here, and I'm like, nah, I ignored it because I thought it just cannot be happening, yeah? And I look, you know when you're on the bus, yeah, at the front, and it's night, at the light, you can see the reflection here. So I'm looking at the reflection, and I see the geezer, look at me like, now when I think about it, it's absolutely hilarious, yeah? So I'm like, nah, it's not happening. And so I waited, and he done it again. So I got up and I went and sat next to him. He's a big lump. And he's looking like that. I'm going, "Go on then, make your noises now. Go on, make your noises now." And he's going, I'm going, "Go on, make it." So I go, crash, I hit this car. Now, the bus conductor heard the commotion, not the bus, yeah, he's heard, and he's come upstairs, black one as well, black bus conductor. And then, what are you doing? Because he didn't realise what happened. And he said, I'll call the police. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, you better get some decent fucking customers on your bus or you'll get the same. And I've off the bus. But I never hit him for me. I mean, I hit him because what if I was that kid on a bus? You know, like, that kid would be petrified of getting on that bus or any bus again, do you know what I mean? That's what I am, I mean, for me. I don't really do things for me. So, with racism, I mean, we see racism and we know there's inequality. I mean, but the problem is, do you want to reminisce and stay? Do you understand? Well, we know what's happened in history. We know what happens in today's world. It's not an issue, but to be going around carrying that banner, you know, I mean, someone said to me the other day, someone said to me the other day that I'm in denial, someone put a podcast that I'm in denial of being black, and asked what have I done for black people. Well, I had to laugh. Number one, you know, I thought to myself, well, hold on, stop. Number one, what have black people done for black people? That's the first thing. But I've done loads and loads of many things for black people, and not just black people, but because I don't see colour. But if I really wanted to hurt that person, and I really wanted to put him in the, all I had to tell him was, I gave my mate a job in a snooker hall in London, yeah, a black mate, opening doors for black people, and he killed one of his fellow workers to get £50 to buy some crack. So, when you're asking me what have I done, I've done a lot for black people, but I don't need to carry a banner and a shining torch on the light of what I do. That's not what I'm about. My reward is the smile I put on their face when I've helped them. And I don't do colour, I don't do race, I do unity, I do come together, I do love, I do community. That's what I'm about, yeah? All this racism, black, white, that is what has put us and our kids and our children and has enabled the forces that be to use it against us and to go forward.
So what was your scariest moment?
Yeah. Scariest moment was knowing you're gay and but you didn't know nothing about it. Remember when we were growing up, it was all taboo, you know what I mean? That was the scariest moment. Am I going to lose my friends? Am I going to lose my pal, my dad, my mum? That's the most scariest moment of a faggot's life. I mean, gay. I call it faggot because I don't care, but I can't call it faggot. It's gay, you don't faggot. Nah, don't bother me, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that was the most scariest. I mean, you know, you don't know nothing about it. Then for the older ones like you, Liam, like, was I really going to be like Dick Henry? Liam's laughing, he knows what Dick Henry is.
Greatest achievement?
Greatest achievement was coming out. You know, when I came out in a pub on New Year's Eve, 10 to 12, and you know, when it come out, all the fear's gone, isn't it? All the fear, the pain, the hurt, and everyone said we knew we were anyway. And I thought, well, why couldn't you effing tell me in the first place? No one had to go through this fucking box. So that was the greatest achievement. You got to remember, everyone know gay. Yes, gay is a part of it. Me, yes. But you've got to understand the black gay, it's a different thing entirely. You have to remember, black, we are not accepted by countries, we're not accepted by religions, we're not accepted in Africa, and we're not, so, you know, we're always persecuted, but I don't really give a shit, like, you know.
Ambitions for the future?
Ambition now is, I've done a lot of things in life. I've done a great deal of clubs, security. I've been a stand-up comedian. I've done acting. I've done journalism, adverts on the radio. I've done all the nightclubs. I've done the star security. I've coached football teams. I've coached boxing. I've coached all sports, schools, colleges. I've done. So the biggest ambition for me right now is to use all those experiences, use everything I've learned, good and bad, to help people, help them in their lives. So in one of my podcasts I touch on disappointment and explain how to deal with it, and so it doesn't take you where it took me. Talk about relationships, and that's my ambition, was to help people understand, because I believe now, since I've come out of prison 4 years, I believe people have forgotten each other. People have forgotten the simple things. People have forgotten the walk in the park is free. People have forgotten each other. And that's the problem with some of the slogan, look after number one. Somebody looking after number one, they lose the one they love. Somebody looking after number one, they lose all their friends. This is what I'm saying. We've forgotten each other. We've broken up the community. Millionaires, billionaires, they look after number one. Us working class, which has got been dissolved since Blair and Thatcher came in, they crushed it and got rid of it. We're killing each other, hurting each other, you know, and you know they took the police, they shut the police station down, took the police officers off the street, they took the youth clubs away, no football games in the flats. They told all the neighbours to spy on each other, be scared of each other. You're better next door. And now look at the situation we're in. Our kids are killing each other, stabbing each other. A dad disciplined his kid last week because his kid stole a Rolex watch. Yeah. So the dad disciplined, just 2 licks, as you would as a parent. The kid called the police, the dad lost his job. And you know what makes me sick most of all? You don't see that highlighted in the press. And I'm going to podcast that next week, yeah.
So do you have family and support around you? Are you supported, or are you like a lone person?
No, I like solitude, but I haven't been. See, when people say I have to count my friends on one hand, I say I need 10,000 sets of hands. You know, I mean, my friends became my family. That's how I live, and I'm always supported. I you know, Matty here, and, I'm supported by everybody, because I love everybody and I respect everybody. I help. That's what I am. I'm a helper, and I give advice and help and help people relieve their struggle. And everyone says I should be a counsellor, but I prefer to do it. That's why I'm doing the YouTube on a major stage, because to reach more people.
Any regrets or anything you look back that you might think, oh God, I wish I hadn't have done that?
Do you know what? I don't do regrets. You live life, Philip. When you live life. Listen, let me tell you something. If there's something people don't understand, I want to tell you something now, yeah. Life is all about making mistakes. That's life. And if you don't make mistakes, then you're not living. You understand what I'm saying? You've got to make mistakes. And then mistakes you learn from them. And then once you've learned, then you could pass on and you stop other people from making the same mistake. So what's the point of having regrets? You do what we're going to do.
What's going to go on your gravestone?
This silly black bastard was here. Wow.